It's Tuesday, August 11th, 2026, and welcome to Furniture Industry News. Today we're talking about tariff money moving backward through the supply chain and the fact that nobody has promised to pass it on. Let's start there. Amazon told investors on its second quarter call that roughly $600 million in previously paid import duties had come back to the company. That is a large number, but what Amazon said about it matters more. For most merchandise sold on its platform, it was not the party named on the customs entry, so it was not the one legally paying the duty. It bought inventory ahead of time to limit exposure, and it generally absorbed its own tariff costs rather than passing them straight to shoppers. Then it drew a line worth your attention. In a limited number of transactions, Amazon could trace a specific import charge billed directly to a customer. For those, it says it will contact the customer and issue a refund automatically. Everything else goes into lower prices. Here's an argument worth putting on the table directly. The refund belongs to whoever carried the risk, not simply whoever's name is on the customs paperwork. A retailer places the order and pays the invoice with the tariff already added to the cost. Then the retailer has to decide how much of that to put on the price tag, with no guarantee a customer pays it and no guarantee the piece sells at all. That is real risk, taken before a single dollar ever came back, and the refund is not a windfall. It is the unwinding of a cost the retailer should never have had to carry permanently. Right now, vendors are sorting into three camps, and retailers are watching closely. The first camp sent the full refund to retail partners fast, even with some clawback risk still open. The second camp says the right words, something like, "We will take care of you once the dust settles," while sitting on money that is not theirs. The third camp gives no timeline and no straight answer, which tells a retailer to expect nothing. Some in that third group are genuinely strained, and the refund might be the difference between making payroll and not. The honest move there is a phone call laying out the plan, not silence. Retailers will work with honesty. What they will not forgive is being played.
There is a fair counter-argument coming back up the chain. The retailer already marked up the price for the tariff and the customer paid it, so why does the retailer keep the refund instead of the customer? Here's the answer. The customer bought a finished product at an agreed price and got exactly what they paid for. Nobody refunds a customer because a cost fell after the sale closed, the same way nobody bills a customer again when a container invoice comes in higher than expected. The refund settles where the risk lived, and that is the retailer. Industry columnist Ray Allegrezza comes at this from a different angle, the procedural one. The tariff either left a paper trail or it did not. A separately stated surcharge ties back to a specific transaction, while an ordinary price increase influenced by duties and freight and labor all at once does not and cannot be unwound after the fact. At the Spring High Point Market, executives from Meridian Furniture, Elements International, Lifestyle Enterprises, and Coaster Fine Furniture all said their companies were applying for tariff refunds, and Coaster's Crystal Nguyen said her company paid the duties for 4 to 5 months before it could get a new price list out, so at least some of that cost was genuinely absorbed. As of his writing, Allegrezza is not aware of a single furniture vendor that has publicly committed to retroactive credits and has not found a traditional retailer promising broad refunds to consumers. So what do you do with this? Nobody is breaking a law here. The live question is disclosure, and you can act on it this quarter. Go back through your invoice history and find out whether any invoice carried a separately stated tariff line, who filed as the importer of record, and what happens to a refund tied to goods already bought and sold. None of that accuses anyone of anything. It tests whether a cost you were told was unavoidable still exists. And remember, retailers keep score. That memory sits in the room the next time an open-to-buy decision gets made. A vendor that pays fast is buying years of trust for the cost of one quarter's cash.
Now to earnings, because Haverty's held its second quarter call, and the numbers underneath the headline are the interesting part. Net sales came in at $194.9 million, up 7.7% from a year ago. Net income was $5.3 million, or 32 cents per share, against net income of $2.7 million, or 16 cents per share, a year ago. That was helped in part by $2.1 million in tariff refunds on direct imports. It was the fourth straight quarter of written and delivered comparable sales gains. The engine was the ticket. The average ticket rose 14% to more than $3,800. The average design ticket rose 15.7% to more than $8,800, and design accounted for 36.5% of the quarter's business, with custom orders up 23% behind it. President and Chief Executive Steve Burdett said every merchandise category was positive, with double-digit gains in upholstery, bedroom, dining, and occasional. Written sales rose 12.6%. But watch the sequencing, because this is the part that matters for fall planning. That refund is a one-time recovery of a cost already spent, And it was disclosed on the very same call where Burdett warned that Havertys expects an estimated 25 to 30% increase in container rates in the middle of this month, tied to higher bunker fuel rates. The relief is behind this business. The cost is in front of it. Burdett said the refunds give the company flexibility to be more selective about retail price adjustments, and I would read that as the industry's position, not just one retailer's. One more takeaway. A design business that size, at a ticket near $9,000, is the strongest argument I have seen for staffing real, paid design capability on a mid-market floor.
Let's talk bedding, because the mattress channel is moving in two directions at the same time. Purple Innovation lowered its full-year revenue forecast after wholesale sales fell hard. Second quarter net revenue was $98.3 million, down 6.5%. Wholesale revenue fell 19.1% to $37.4 million. But here is the number to sit with. Revenue from Purple's own showrooms grew 16.6%. Gross margin expanded about 470 basis points to 45.2%, mostly on a $5.3 million tariff refund. Purple cut its revenue outlook for the year to a range of $420 million to $440 million. Now hold that next to this. In the same week, a 25-year-old mattress retailer in upstate New York said it will close both of its stores on August 31st and continue as an online-only business. This is not a bankruptcy. It is a channel decision. 2 leases go away outright, and payroll, utilities, and insurance all come down with them, while the company carries 25 years of local history and an A+ Better Business Bureau rating into the new channel. And the demand case is better than conventional wisdom suggests. Consumer Reports puts online at 35% of mattress purchases, down from a peak of 45% in 2021. And J.D. Power found online buyers spent an average of $984, which is $258 less than in-store buyers spent. So is closing the stores smart? Closing removes cost immediately. Replacing what the stores actually did takes longer and costs money nobody has budgeted. What made Mattresses sellable sight unseen was not the website. It was the extended home trial, the 100-night or 365-night guarantee. Any retailer going online has to price that risk into its return policy, and a policy that excludes used delivered product does not price it at all. The rent does not disappear either. It just gets billed by a different party, and it does not pause when traffic is slow. The competitive read for retailers is right there in Purple's own segment lines. A supplier whose wholesale channel is shrinking while its own showrooms grow is not a neutral partner in that channel. Negotiate your bedding program with the vendor's retail growth rate in front of you.
Quickly on a merger that closed today. Catapult Holdings completed its all-stock combination with the Aaron's Company and CCF Holdings, also called CCFI, which are now wholly owned subsidiaries of Catapult. On a fully diluted basis, CCFI unit holders take about 80% of the combined company, Aaron stockholders about 14%, and Catapult stockholders about 6%. So the consumer finance business is the economic center here, and the store network is attached to it. Executive Chairman Kyle Hansen put the combined business at more than $4 billion in pro forma revenue, with a dataset covering 7 million non-prime consumers. If you run a lease-to-own partner, pull your approval rates and merchant discount this quarter and compare them while there is still someone to compare against. That same cash pressure was the main topic on the floor in Las Vegas, where exhibitors at the summer market spent much of their time counseling anxious dealers rather than just writing orders. Tim Donk at Legends Home said cash flow is paramount for smaller independents, framing the question directly: do you spend cash on new inventory when you already have a lot of it? The vendors who had an answer answered with logistics. Mitch Hodges at Meridian Furniture said the company keeps most items in stock and ships next business day, and stressed that focus does not come at the expense of new product. Jamie Collins at HomeLegend said dealers are more worried about container shipping costs and tariffs, where the frustration is uncertainty over the rate and which countries are covered. Luis Ruesga at Zoo Modern said new tariffs on Canadian and Brazilian goods are especially troubling because both are important furniture sources. The practical takeaway: lead time and fill rate are a vendor selection criterion this fall, not a service detail. Ask for ship window commitments in writing and build your fall assortment so a rate change on one country of origin cannot take out an entire category.
2 fast data points before we wrap. Furniture and home furnishing store sales rose 2.71% year-over-year in July, and only 2 of 9 tracked sectors did worse, even as core retail sales rose 4.72%, the 10th straight month of gains. And a new survey from Omnisend found 67% of shoppers say higher prices changed how they feel about brands they once liked, and 85% believe brands and retailers often use inflation as an excuse to raise prices more than necessary. But there is a usable finding in there too. Consumers will accept an increase for reasons they can name: better product quality, higher worker wages, rising material costs.
Vague language about market conditions is what erodes trust. Specifics do not. That's the briefing. If you find this useful, please subscribe so you don't miss the next one.